All right, it's going to be called the law. Yesterday's law of sines. We got a law of cosines, and don't worry, there's no law of tangents. This is it. This is it. Last topic in the unit. We get back on Monday after break. It's just going to be I'm going to give you a random problem, and you're going to have to figure out is it law of sines or what I'm going to show today, law of cosines. So guys, this is it. Okay, this is it. Everything from this unit will be on that test coming up. I believe I scheduled it for Thursday the 2nd, the Thursday we get back. All right, so this is it today. Last real teaching day of the unit. All right, so what I want you guys to do, set up triangle RST for me. Go ahead, set up RST. And I first want to show you why law of sines is not good enough. So you have R is 11. Remember, what did we talk about yesterday? Lowercase r means that's the side across from angle R is 11. Side across from angle S is 12. Angle T, 120. And find side T to the nearest integer. Let me try to set, you guys relax for a second. Let me try to set up law of sines like we did yesterday. And I just want to say, hey, it doesn't work here. Show why it doesn't work. So I got T over sine 120. That's no issue, right? Everyone's with me so far? T over sine 120. What do you put that over? There's nothing there and you can't find it. We all agree there? All right, well, what if I put 11 instead? Side 11. Same problem, right? I don't know what angle R is and I can't find it. So we all see why law of sines is not going to work. I don't have enough info for it. It's not going to cut it. So that's why I'm going to introduce today what's called the law of cosines. And you guys have this right up here. I'm going to write it out bigger here, and so I can tell you what each piece means here. All right, so here we go. A squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cosine A. All right, so let me tell you what each piece means, and then you guys can jot it down right on the top here. All right, what do I plug in for each piece? All right, what goes in for A? Now, I gotta stress this. That is not side A. It's not side A. Because what if I have triangle XYZ? I don't have side A. All right, so I need you guys to understand what side goes in. It's not side ABC. It's not. What triangle are we working on now? RST. Yeah, it's got no ABC. So you got to understand what each piece means. This side, this is right here. A is the side across from the given angle. Okay, that's what I plug in there. I'm always going to have an angle, and I plug in the side across. And that's how I start law of cosines. All right, I plug in the side across from the given angle. B and C, there's three sides in a triangle. You've already used one, so B and C are the other two sides. That's the other two sides. And it's the same B and C you would plug in here. Okay? Same B and C that you would plug in for 2BC. And then finally, bless you, this one right here, that's the given angle I plug in degrees. Law of cosines. That's why you see a cosine there. We don't plug sine or tangent in. Law of cosines. So you use three sides of the triangle and the angle that you're given. All right, let's see if we can put this to use now. And then I'll show you how to put it in your calculator. All right, we start by plugging in the side across from the given angle. First thing I need from somebody, what angle did I give you? 8. What angle did I give you?
T.
Angle T, so what's the side across?
T.
So right, we're going to start this off with T squared. Not 11 squared, not 12 squared, T squared, because it's the side across from the angle I'm given. Equals, B and C represent the other two sides, which are, what are my other two sides? 10? Perfect. 11 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times B and C, which were 11 and 12. Times cosine of my angle, which has to be in degrees, which it is. And again, remind me one more time, what's my angle? 2. What's my angle, Nate?
120.
So cosine 120. So is everyone all right with the sides and angles that we plugged in before I touch my calculator now? All right, my best piece of advice. T squared equals, plug all this in, one line on your calculator. Plug it all in. Don't go piece by piece. Plug it all in. 11 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 11 times 12 times cosine 120. Plug it all in one spot. Don't try to do 11 squared equals 12 squared equals. Do it all in one. And you guys should get a number out, which is 397. But remember, that's T squared. 397's not the side. I don't think it could be 397, right? That's not my side length. That's what T squared is equal to. Anybody not getting 397? All right, now finish it now. Use your algebra knowledge. How do I finish this? What do I need to do on each side now? 1. And what do I need to do on each side? Take the square root of both sides up. And look at my rounding directions. Round T to the nearest integer. Anna, again, what do you got?
20.
20, yep. So T is about 20 units long. Any questions? I gotta go. The other problems we're gonna do is different ways to use, because it may not be just solving for this side. Your variable may be on the right side too, but any questions here? Plug it all in at once in your calculator. All right, here we go. Different version coming up here, 2. Triangle ABC again. You guys know how to do these diagrams well. Side A is 4. Side C is 6. All right, a little different now, a little different. Cosine of B is 1/16. Watch how this changes our formula now. Okay, watch how this changes our formula. Because that's not degrees anymore, so that's going to change what we plug into the formula. And what are we looking for? Sorry, side B. Side B. All right, help me start law of cosines. What angle do I know about? What angle do I have information about? 2. Nate, what angle do I have information about?
Angle B.
And what side's across from it?
Side B.
Side B. So that's what I'm going to start law of cosine off with, B squared. That's why it's important to know what every piece of the law of cosines is. I know it says A squared, but you start with the side across from the given angle. All right, what are my other two sides? 4. What are my other two sides?
6 squared.
Good. So equals 6 squared plus 4 squared minus, and we know B and C are the same B and C's I just wrote down. 2 times 6 times 4. Now watch what happens now. It's the cosine of the angle, right? Don't I already know that value? What did I give you as the cosine of the angle?
160.
So, hey, look. Notice I didn't put, why don't I need to put cosine with it? It's not an angle. It's not an angle. That's the only time I'm going to write cosine with it, is when it's an actual angle measure. Here, I already knew what the cosine value was. It's 1/16, so I just plugged it in. Okay, I don't need to put cosine with it because it's not an angle. I only put the cosine with it when it's an angle measure. All right, the cosine of this angle is already 1/16. Just write it in. And now what can I do? Do it all in one line in my calculator. The only time you need to put cosine with it, guys, is when it's an angle measure you're given. Look at the differences between 1 and 2 when you're done with this. A little bit more complicated than the law of sines, I think. We get 49 there. 49. And then you took the square root of both sides. So that side is 7. Now take a look. Again, this is the part people struggle with is when do I put a cosine with it? You put a cosine when it's an actual degree measure. If I give you the cosine value, you just plug it in, no cosine next to it. All right? Is everyone all right here? Getting it on their calculator? Spence, you good?
I got 55.
6 squared plus 4 squared minus 2 times 6 times 4 times 1/16. Not cosine 1/16, just 1/16. Set up number 3. All right, darn right you did. All right, here's one where I'm not solving for a side. This is the first numbers 1 and 2. We solve for a side. Number 3, I'm not asking. I know all 3 sides now. A is 5, B is 7, C is 10. Find cosine B. All right, so I'm not solving for a side. I'm actually solving for another part of the law of cosine formula. Give me the angle we're trying to find information on. 6. What's the question asking here? Oh, go ahead, Nate. Sorry.
Cosine B.
Cosine B. So what's the side across from B? Which is?
7.
So, hey, that's how I start law of cosines with now. 7 squared. Not a variable anymore. Why am I starting out with 7 versus 10 and 5? I'm looking for cosine B. So I start with the side across. Other 2 sides I'm going to plug in now. 1, Anna, other 2 sides?
10 squared and 5 squared.
10 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 10 times 5. And then how do I finish that? What's law of cosine say? Cosine. Of what angle here?
B.
I put 7 here, so you better put what here? Cosine. And that's what I'm solving for. So now, instead of solving for this left side here, I need your help trying to get that all by itself. So this is not something I can go to my calculator and just type in one step. All right, because what I'm solving for is on the right and not the left. So let's help each other here to solve for cosine B. 7 squared. Here we go, 7 squared. 49. 10 squared. 100 plus 5 squared.
25.
Here we go. Minus 2 times 10 times 5. 2 times 10 times 5. 100. Cosine B. Quick question for you guys. Quick question. Take a look. If I gave you this, 100 plus 25 minus 100x, could you combine all 3 of those? Are all three of those like terms? No. So what I'm trying to tell you is you can't combine all three of those. This is attached right here. What's the only two you could combine up here? 100 and the 25. That's the same thing down here. You cannot combine all three. You can only combine this 100 and this 25. So let's keep going. 49 equals 125 minus 100 cosine B. Again, you cannot combine those two. But I still need cosine B by itself. So now I'm going to ask your help. Move some stuff over to get cosine B by itself. What do you think you have to move over here? First thing you got to move over. I want cosine B by itself. All right, 7.
125.
Good. How are you going to move it over, Kier?
Subtract.
Nice job. Get the 125 subtracted over. Good work. Negative 76. Equals, and this is a common mistake, negative. Don't drop the negative. It's negative 100. All right, we should have one more step to get cosine B by itself. What else do I have to get rid of here? 12. And how do I get rid of that one? Divide it over, right? Because it's being multiplied. Good work, Rachel. Good work. Divide by negative 100. So cosine B is equal to, let's try to leave that as a fraction if we can. So if I go to my calculator and I do negative 76 divided by negative 100. Now look, is 0.76 a suitable answer? It's correct, yeah. It's correct. If anybody know how to change it into a fraction, I think I've shown this a couple times. Iris? Yep, and? Yep, choice 1, turn it into a fraction. Good work. So am I going to, would I accept 0.76? Sure. Would I accept some longer decimal than that? Probably not. So see if it changes into a fraction, 19 over 25. And there it is. There's the cosine of B, 19 over 25. Okay, whoa. Just so everyone's clear. When you use, for me anyway, when you use law of cosines, I will never ask you to solve for B or C. Please remember that. There's only two things I'm going to have you solve for. A, and over here, cosine A. That's it. That's the only things you should be solving for when you use this formula. I will never put you in the spot where you should be solving for B or C. Okay? All right, one more together, and then you're going to show me you can do one on your own here. You guys have isosceles triangle red? Okay, and if I change that one. RE is congruent to ED, and they're both 5. And RD is 8. Find the measure of vertex angle A. We are going to do the same thing we did for the last problem. You guys are going to get me down to the cosine value, and then we're going to talk about what do I need to do with this to get to the actual angle. All right, so you're going to solve for cosine first, and then we're going to discuss and see if anybody can figure out how do I take this one more step and actually find the angle if I know the cosine. All right, what should I start law of cosines out with? 5 or the 8? 11? Good work, because it's across from angle E, which I'm finding. So that's why I picked 8 squared equals, here we go, other two sides. 9? 5 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 5 times 5 times cosine E, right? Or X if you want to put cosine, but have the cosine there because we're going to find the angle now. How do I find angle E? Hey, same process, ready? Same process. So 8 squared, 64. 5 squared, 25, plus 25, minus, what is that, 2 times 5 times 5? Good old math minute facts, huh? Remember, be disciplined. You can't combine all three, right? On the right, you cannot combine. Plus, if you did, it would get 0. And you'd be like, I think that's incorrect. And you're right. But I can combine I can find the two 25s, right? 50 minus 50 cosine E. All right, move that up. You tell me what you want to move over now, because I can't subtract the two 50s now. 4, what do you want to move over?
The 50.
Yep, how?
Subtraction.
Yep, you really couldn't answer that one wrong, right? Move the 50 over. All right, what do I got there? 14 equals, don't drop that negative. All right, next up. 11. Kelsey, what do you got?
Divide by negative.
You got it. Divide by negative 50. And this is where we ended the last problem. But now let's talk, how do I keep it going? So I get cosine E equals, ready? 14 divided by negative 50. You can leave it negative 0.28. We talked, you can leave it as a fraction too. Negative 7 over 25. But now, how do I find angle E now? How do I find, I know the cosine is negative 7 over 25, but now how do I find angle E? Angle E. What's on here that lets me find angles if I know a sine or cosine value? We did it yesterday when we did law of sines. You did it all for quiz 2. When you found an angle, when you need to find an angle, what am I using on my calculator? Inverse. Yes, there you go, Spence. Inverse. So I'm going to go inverse cosine negative 7 over 25, and that's going to give me angle E. That's how I end this problem. Inverse cosine. And hopefully your calculators are in degrees. And how many degrees are in that vertex angle? What is it? Nearest, what are we rounding to? Nearest degree when you get it? Oh, 7.
Mm-hmm. 106.2.
Nearest degree, Kara.
Oh, 106.
There you go, 106 degrees. So, and that's it. These are the 4 types of problems I would expect you to use law of cosine for. I'm never going to ask you to solve for B or C. These are the 4 type of law of cosine problems. So you guys go ahead. When you think you have number 5, call me over. I'll check your answer. When you're good, we go right to the book and you try to get as many done so you don't have much to do over break. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 for break. And you can probably get 3 or 4 of them done before you get out of here. Make sure you take a look at the rounding directions. You guys watching at home, here's the answer to number 5, so you can try it on your own.